Okay, my name is Vihimga Vivian Akbar, a civil servant and mother of late Keren Akbar, who until her death on 22nd of June 2021 was a 14-year-old boarding student at Premier Academy, Lugbe, Abuja. So it all started on the 18th of June 2021. My daughter had called from school using her teacher's phone, saying that she had issues with her eyes, so she would want to be taken home. It was in the evening of Friday. So I told her I'll be coming to the school, but the teacher quickly begged that if I get to the school, she'll be punished for allowing my daughter use her phone. So I should call the next day, which was going to be a call day, Saturday, 19th of June, and tell them I want to take her home. So the next day, by 8 a.m., I called the matron of the school clinic and told her that Keren had called, that she had issues with her eyes, so I would like to come and pick her for medication. And the matron said no. If I pick Keren because of COVID-19 protocols, she'll be made to stay in isolation for 7 days when she gets back. So it will be a better arrangement if I pay for logistics, the school takes her to the clinic, I intend to take her and then take her back to school. I paid 5,000 naira into the school account, and by a few minutes to 10, I was waiting for them at Nisa Premier Hospital. So she came to me in the hospital. When she saw me, she immediately asked, "Mommy, this wasn't our arrangement. Why didn't you come to pick me?" And I told her the matron said she would be kept in isolation because of COVID-19. And she quickly told me that was a lie. Nobody is kept in isolation in our school. I should look at the girl in the car with her. She's going home for her mother's birthday party. Is it not better? Is she not in a better position to be given an exit to go home for treatment on medical grounds? The girl is going home for a birthday party. So I told her that she shouldn't worry. I'll call the principal and get an exit for her. So they attended to her after the treatment. I said, okay, she should go back. I'll call and get a proper exit and go and pick her. But when she was leaving, she asked a question. "Mommy, are you letting me live with these people again?" I said, what people?
Wait, your daughter looked at you and said, "Mommy, are you letting me go with these people again?" From the school, the people from the school.
Yeah, she came.
You should have suspected something now.
She came in the car with the nurse, a teacher, the driver, and the girl that was going for the birthday party. So I said, "Don't bother. You didn't get an exit. You didn't get your books. You soon start exams. Just go back. I'm following right behind you." So I called the school principal. No, when they were going, I now asked her if I should give the nurse and the teacher some money. She said, "No, these wicked people, were they not the one that were shouting on me?" And it was very unlike her.
What were they shouting at her at?
I asked her, "Why were they shouting at you?" She said, "No, I was crying because of my eyes."
No, she mentioned something. She said, they are shouting at you. Is it the first time?
Is it the first time they were shouting that? I said, "Why?" She said, "Because she was crying for her eyes." I said, "Is it this nurse?" She said, "No, it's one black ugly one in school." So I now called the principal that I still want to take Keren home. She's not feeling too fine. The principal said, "Don't worry, madam. Once you get to the gate, call me. Just call me and I will give you an exit." So immediately they left. I followed behind. I got to the school at about 1 p.m. I called the principal. The principal would not pick my call. I called the matron. The matron picked my call and said, I still want to take Keren home. Please, I want an exit. She said, "She, madam, we've established that it's a bacterial infection. We are taking care of Keren. Go home." I called the principal. I wasn't satisfied. I said, this time he picked my call. When I said, "I want to take Keren," he said, "I think the matron has explained to you. We are taking care of Keren. Just leave her."
That the principal of which school?
Principal of Premier Academy, Lugbe, Mr. Chris Akinshawan. That Mrs. Grace Salami, who was the matron of the school clinic. I now wanted to go back, but then Keren called me from the school phone and said, "Mommy, where are you?" I said, "I came, but they are not allowing me." She started crying. So I was, "What exactly is it?" She said she just wants to go. I said, "Babe, you're going to write exam next week." She said she wants to go home. So the house mother of Keren, Mrs. Rita Abejide, now told me that I should not listen to what the matron is telling me. I should disregard whatever they are telling me and make sure I take my daughter home.
Her godmother,
her house mother,
from the school, called you, told you that whatever thing the school tells you, you should disregard it.
That this girl could not walk to school on Wednesday the 16th to write a test. She had to be supported by her friends to go and write a test. And that caught me. This girl was crying. She could not walk to school. She wasn't taken for treatment. She was taken to write a test. So it means they knew what had happened. So I said, no, I'm taking Keren. I kept on calling the matron, the principal. None of them would pick my call. So I called back the house mother. I said, I'm calling them. They are not picking. She said, madam, make a lot of noise at that gate until they allow you to take your daughter. I was at the gate from 1 p.m. to past 3.
Nobody listened to you?
Nobody. I went to the security man and I told him I wanted to see the principal. He made a call and then moved into the school compound. When he came back, I said, what did he say? He said, I don't understand what he was saying. So I was at the gate. I sent text messages to them that I still want to take my daughter home. So by almost 4 p.m., the matron now called me and said, madam, you say you still want to take Keren home. I say, yes, I want to take Keren home.
What is the name of the matron?
Mrs. Grace Salami. So at that time, as I was at the gate, there's a cleaner in the school that knows I'm Keren's mom because 2 of my children were already there. The cleaner saw me and was like,
2 of your children?
My first and second son
are schooling
there. And the cleaner is from my place. So when he saw me, he said, you came to take Keren. I said, what happened? He said, Keren was rolling all over the floor today that she must go home. So when she said, okay, we are going to release your daughter to you, I waited at the gate for another 30 minutes. I did not see Keren. So I called Mr. Kinshaw, the acting principal, and said, I called him with my MTN line. He did not pick.
The number he
knows. He did not pick. I used my glow line. When he picked, I now said, please, it's Mrs. Akbar. He said, madam, now you know what let me rest today. Eh? I said, Oga, please.
The principal telling you this?
Yes.
Mr. who?
Chris Akinsawan.
He told you this?
Yes.
No, he told someone to tell you this?
No. I spoke to him directly.
He told you this to your hearing?
Yes, sir.
Over the phone?
Yes, sir.
You still have the same line?
Yes, sir.
In case there will be denial, we will talk to
he told me that. Yes,
telecoms operators.
That was exactly what he told me. And I said, Oga, please just release my daughter to me. I want to take her home. He said, don't worry, she's coming out. It took at about 30 minutes again. But when Keren came out, she came out with her hand over her face like this. I kept on asking her, what exactly? She said nothing. But when I made to take her away, the security said, no, madam, you can't take her. You must bring an ID card for us to snap. I say, I have 2 other kids. But
that is their procedure, she?
No, I have 2 other kids in this school. In fact, May, the month before, during Salah, they did not come home for Salah. So I went to see them in school. That was on the 14th of May. And I saw that she had red eyes. And I say, I now called the matron. Madam, I want to take Keren for checkup. Immediately, she said, don't worry, somebody is bringing an exit to you. I was at the school technical place where they were receiving parents. And they brought the exit and I took her home.
And nobody asked you for ID card?
Nobody asked for ID card. So I said, no problem. I brought my ID card, they snapped it, and I took Keren home. All through our drive home, she was very talkative. She could not say anything. I kept on asking her. We were even teasing her that cry auntie, you like this, you're crying to come home. She didn't say anything. She got home. Immediately she got into the house. She switched off all the lights and lay down. So to eat, she did not eat that day. The next day, because she's diabetic, all she did was took her insulin, slept. The next day she woke up, took insulin, and then came down and ate. Warmed the food of the day before and ate with her younger brother. We were in the house up till 11 p.m. She came to my room and said, Mommy, I just vomited. I asked her, are you feeling sick? She said, do you want us to go to the hospital? She said, no, tomorrow we'll go to the hospital. But by 4:35 a.m. in the morning, My daughter woke me up that, Mommy, I want warm water. Gave her warm water. She drank. The cup she drank with, the water was finished, but she did not put the cup down. She kept, it was just, I said, Dido, because we call her Dido, the water is finished, put the cup down. She kept the cup down and continued with her hand.
She now positioned her hand as if she was holding a cup to drink water.
That was when I realized that all is not well. So I now quickly was making to dress her. She started fighting me. Don't touch me, leave me alone, leave me alone. Managed to dress her. We brought her down, took her to the hospital. When we walked into the hospital and they saw her state, they immediately inserted a drip for her. And because she was so weak, they did not want her to be moving to the toilet. They wanted to insert a catheter. They saw a discharge. And because she's diabetic,
they saw a discharge from her private part.
Vagina. Because she's diabetic, they thought it was candidiasis. So later again, they wanted to take a vaginal swab. This time, the discharge came like a whole lump. So what the doctor did was the doctor just wrapped it. The doctor just wrapped it and said they should take it for test. Took her urine for test. So by 1 p.m., about that, the doctor came to me and called me and said, Madam, at this time, she was now struggling, fighting. They had to restrain her. And the catheter, all she wanted to do was, I just want to go and pee. Please, you people should just let me go and pee. So when the doctor came, he called me and told me that my daughter's urine revealed a lot of dead spermatozoa.
Dead sperm?
Yes, sir. And then that lumpy thing they took, thinking it was a discharge, was actually condom, latex, condom. And the motions my daughter has been going through points to the fact that my daughter was molested, probably raped, and she was just living through all the trauma. So at that point, I called the school matron and the principal and told them I would like to discuss something with them in the hospital and gave them their address. And they said they were coming. That was at Queen's Clinic in Wuse, Zone 6. So I now called the house father of my son. And I told him, and he asked me, I wanted to actually speak to my son to find out if he heard any story of what happened to his sister. I did not reveal whatever the doctor had told me. So he asked me how Keren was doing. That's Mr. Chuka Okafo. He asked me how Keren was doing, and I told him she wasn't doing too well. She was still unconscious. The next thing he said was, Madam, don't worry. We'll get to the bottom of this so that it doesn't happen to another child.
His name is what?
Mr. Chuka Okafo.
A staff of that school? A teacher?
Yeah. No, a house father.
Okay.
Stays in the hostel. So I called the nurse, Mrs. Brekete Tiongi, who is also from my place, and I had expected she would care for Keren. But I still did not disclose what happened to her. And she said, she spoke in my language, but what it meant was that... Say
it exactly before translation.
Mommy kakwaga sifaona ese wankwa ken. Mommy, it's no problem. We'll get to know who did something to our daughter.
That Mrs. Who telling you this?
Miss Brekete Tiongi. So the school did not come to the hospital until about 4:45, 5 p.m. thereabout. So the matron and the principal said he couldn't come, so he was the head of pastoral.
That came?
Yes, and the matron, Mrs. Grace Salami. And when they came, I explained all this to them. She saw, Mrs. Grace Salami saw her lying because she was unconscious.
That was when you disclosed to them what
this is what the doctor had
discovered.
Seen. Yes.
Discovered that she was raped repeatedly.
Yes.
And unfortunately, okay, I don't know whether you have, when you get there, you about the, okay, so continue.
So at that point, when she came, she kept on pinching her. She would pinch her hands, pinch her
legs. The woman was pinching your daughter?
Yeah, and I asked her, what are you doing that for? And she said she just wants to see if she's still conscious. I said, please don't do that.
Pinching?
So, yes. So
in the presence of everybody?
Yes.
You and who? Were there?
My sister was there. And then the head of pastoral was there. So
which other person is there?
it was just us in there.
Okay, and she was pinching the girl.
Yes. So at this point, we started discussing, and I pressed record on my phone.
You were recording
Yes.
your conversation. Good.
Yes. So they said, the matron said, you gave us this girl in trust, thinking we could take care of her. Look at what happened to her.
Who was saying that?
The matron, Mrs. Grace Salami.
Confessing to you.
Yes.
Say exactly what she said.
You gave us this girl in trust, thinking we could take care of her. Look at what happened to her. No mother would be happy this happening to her child. And the head of pastoral said, if this has happened to her, who says it has not happened to many others in that school? What kind of vigilance are we saying?
And you have the recording as we speak.
So at that point, they wanted to leave, and I said, no, it was best we see the doctor so he explains better to them. But when we got down, it was past 5 and he had left. So by 2:15 a.m., the morning of the 22nd June, my daughter gave up. And it was from sepsis, hyperglycemia caused by sepsis, which was triggered by the condom that was left in her, which the doctor later explained to me that if you are operated on and there is an infection, if you have a fever after 3 days, it's no problem. But if there is a fever on the 7th day, it means there is an infection. So from what we got from the school, she could not walk to school on Wednesday, 16th. If you count up to Sunday, if you count on the 50th day, if you count up to Wednesday, Sunday, it was 5 days already. So at that time, infection had set in. And because she was diabetic, her body was already compromised. Her immune system was compromised. But again, later I got to hear from information from the school that the black nurse she referred to, who was Miss Lois Bong, had given her an overdose of dexamethasone, which is a steroid that a diabetic is not supposed to take, because even in a normal human being, it brings down your immunity.
What is the name of the drug?
Dexamethasone.
Who gave her that?
Mrs. Lois Bong.
And that
the black nurse she referred to. And then I also got to hear that when the other nurses, when they heard she had passed and they confronted her, what medication did you? She gave her 5 tablets of dexamethasone and 1 Leraton. So when they confronted her that you overdosed this girl, she's dead, she now started begging them not to expose her. So
what is her name again?
Miss Lois Bong.
Okay.
The same week my daughter died, she left the school employ.
Oh, she resigned her appointment.
She left the school employ. So after my daughter passed,
sorry. Why did they give her dexamethasone?
Yeah,
pain?
It dulls any pain. Dexamethasone.
Okay, it's like a painkiller.
So
guide her.
Okay. So basically, the injury she sustained
from the rape,
believed from the rape, needed to be managed. And the impression from all our investigation is that dexamethasone, being a steroid, will help her at her age, as 14. It's easier to just use it to manage her and deaden the pain. And that's why within a few days,
walk the following day to the gate, because according to your story, some days before your arrival, she couldn't walk.
On Wednesday,
you understand?
The morning of Wednesday.
And then, what day did you get to the school?
On the 19th.
No.
So, the Wednesday was 16th, 19th was Saturday.
And she was able to walk to the gate. So
she even walked to me in the hospital, because at that time they had been managing her. Who knows, it was a series of overdose of dexamethasone that she was being given.
Continue.
So At this point, I called the school in the morning and told them Keren had passed. Immediately, they released some kind of statement on the school platform saying Keren had died from hyperglycemia, high blood sugar. So I was on the platform.
And what did they claim killed her?
Hyperglycemia, just diabetes. And then they also said, since I was on the platform, I refuted that instantly. I told the people on the platform that Keren died from complications arising from rape, that she was raped in the school in Premier Academy. So that was when they started releasing statements that I took my daughter home, I could not take care of her, and she died. I did not give her the right food, and she ate, and she died. So we started going back and forth.
Sorry, make the point of your own status and how you eat about this.
I'm diabetic too. My daughter is diabetic too. So I know how to, and in fact, she knows how to take very good care of herself. She was diagnosed at 9. And she had never had a crisis until this happened.
Okay.
So I now took the case to the FCT command. I actually first went to Gwarimpa police station because that's where I live. But when I got there, they said it's not under their jurisdiction, that it's actually supposed to be in Lugbe, where the school is. But when we were going to, a policeman ran out of the police station and told us not to take our case to Lugbe. If we take
a policeman from the same Gwarimpa police station ran after you and told you not to even take your matter to Lugbe police station.
That if we take it to Lugbe, it will be swept under the rug. That we should go to the FCT.
A female?
A male policeman. We should go to FCT command. And we took the case to FCT command on the 22nd, but they asked us to make a formal entry, which we did, and it was received on the 23rd. And it was assigned to IPO, an IPO who was Mr. Cosmos Onyebuchi. We also had ASP Shikirat, and the OC gender then was Mrs. Fumilayo Kolowale. Under the stay of the DCP Joseph Pam. From Pam, yeah. So the very first day I met with the IPO.
By name who?
Mr. Cosmos Onyebuchi. They actually asked for 1.2 million for logistics.
From you?
Yes, sir.
After losing your daughter, you came to the police for justice. The police is asking you for 1.2 million naira.
But they ended up collecting 800,000. So they told me
Which year this thing happened?
2021. So, but they told me they were going to.
What is the name of the IPO that collected?
Mr. Cosmos Onyebuchi.
He was the one that requested for 1.2 million. You ended up raising 800,000 naira.
Yes, sir.
And he collected it from you. Continue.
I was with my lawyer, Mr. Sani.
And your lawyer witnessed the transaction?
It was through him, yes.
Okay.
So
through your lawyer? Okay.
So after that, they told me that they will be going to the school for investigation the next day. So the next day when they got to the school, they called back and told me that the school had told them that they had gone for Keren's burial. But at that time...
they came to your place. That they went to Keren's parents.
Burial.
Oh.
That they had gone for Keren's burial. There's nobody to attend to them.
Who
in
is
the school.
Keren?
My daughter.
Were they there at the burial?
There was no burial. She was still at the morgue.
She was still at the mortuary?
Yeah, because we had asked for an autopsy to be carried
So
out.
Police now told you that...
They went to the school and the school authority told them that everybody responsible to have received them had gone for Keren's burial. So when I asked for autopsy, this one, it was Joseph from Pam himself that told me that if I wait for the police to pay for that autopsy, it will take a long while. So I'll have to arrange for that payment. And I paid three.
What is the name of the person that
DCP Joseph Fompam.
Paul Pam.
Joseph.
Fompam Joseph.
Fompam
Joseph.
Fompam Joseph told you that if you are going to wait for police to pay for the autopsy, that what?
It will take a long while.
So
I'll have to make arrangements for that if I want to bury my daughter on time.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid 3. They said I should make arrangement for the pathologist and pay for the autopsy, and I did pay 300,000. And also paid for an observer to cover for me too, which came up to 500,000.
500,000. Mm-hmm.
So
the observer 200,000. Okay.
So after that, the first date they fixed for autopsy, when they got there, they did not bring the medical reports, and they wanted to carry the autopsy.
Mm-hmm.
So the observer, the pathologist, there's what will be the basis for the investigation, autopsy. Because there must be a medical report which will form the basis of the investigation. So that was pushed again to another date. So at that date,
basically they did not release, even though the pathologist from the General Hospital Metama had requested for the medical report as the compass to the investigation, the autopsy. The Fompam Joseph did not authorize the release of that medical report.
The DCP Fompam.
Yes. So it bungled the planned autopsy for that day. They had to push it to another date. But what forced it to be released eventually was because I'm also a media person, using the instrumentality of the media, we released the information that he had bungled the autopsy. So it was published everywhere. As a matter of fact, they confronted her and say, "Madam, why are you releasing such information?" So that was why the next date that was fixed, they had now released to the pathologist the autopsy.
Continue.
So at this point, police was calling me to the police station. They asked me to bring my son, who was a student in Premier Academy when my daughter passed, to come and make a statement. I took the boy there. The next time they asked me that I should come to the station, there's an allegation from the school that a parent told them that his son told him that my son said I wasn't taking care of them. Unfortunately, he was in the house when they called. So he said, no, I should not go for that kind of. So I didn't go, and the next time they called, they now said the school asked them to get my daughter's Bible and her jota and her phone for the investigation. And I told them I wasn't going to give them my daughter's Bible and jota. So that pushed me to even come and look at the Bible. Why are they asking for this Bible? And if I can open the Bible.
Please open. Can somebody hold the microphone for her? Mariam, please be there for her. Go and hold the mic for her. Madam, hold on. She will assist you. She will enter the dock with you. When she is done, take the mic. When she is, okay, you can.
First, because my daughter, for her, it was sacrilege to mark a Bible. But when I opened, I saw that she has actually marked her Bible. And the first place was Job 3:18. And it said, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They do not hear the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. But the last of it, 25, says, for the thing I greatly feared has come upon me, and what I dreaded has happened to me. I am not at ease, nor am I quiet. I have no rest, for trouble comes.
So continue.
Sorry, just to build on that particular verse, that which I fear most has come upon me. When I and my team started investigating this case, after meeting with her, we went to the school. We called the acting principal, Mr. Chris Akinsowo, and said, we want to come and hear your own side of the story because we have information around this issue. And they invited us in. So when they were sharing stories about Keren, among the things they told us was that Keren was so disciplined that she would never long to eat anything not recommended for diabetic. But for this portion, the woman, Mrs. Fawemi, one of the major, I think, director in the school, now said to us that when they returned to school, the children were discussing among themselves, students were playing, and the conversation Keren was having with her classmates at that time was, what do you fear most? The subject matter, what do you fear most? Different kids said different things that they feared. Some said it's exam, some said it's water, different things. But Keren said what she fears most is the fear of being raped. So when we discovered...
Who told you this?
A director in the school.
By name?
Mrs. Fawemi.
She mentioned this to you?
She mentioned that they were having this conversation, students, and what do you fear most? And Keren said she fears being raped as most.
That is the...
Yeah, so I now linked it up with this portion of the Bible that says, that which I fear most has come upon me.
So continue, man.
So I refuse to give them the Bible, and even in the jota, there's a part in her jota she has is that you could clearly see that somebody wrote, when should I bring her? There's a portion in her jota that's clearly written there.
When should I bring her? Yes.
So when I saw this, I photocopied it and gave someone to investigate who has this
handwriting. And
they pointed out 2 teachers had a male and a female. The female being the teacher, she used her phone, Mrs. Blessing Yowesi, and the male being the acting principal, Mr. Chris Akinsowo, at that time, yes. So the police, we kept going back and forth with the police. We now asked the FCT command for a DNA investigation. So at that point, they asked that I should bring 600,000 naira, which
600,000 naira again
for the DNA.
After 500,000, after 800,000, now 600.
And at this point, it was clear, it was evident that they were with the school.
The police, right?
Yes, because the medical report, they asked the doctor not to release to me. I don't have my daughter's medical report till date.
Up till now?
Yes. The autopsy.
And she died which year?
2021. June.
And up till now, you, the mother.
I don't have the medical report.
And you, apart from being the mother, you are the complainant.
Yes.
Yet you have not been given
the autopsy report. I asked for it. Joseph Fampam said.
Fampam
Joseph said it will jeopardize their investigation, so I can't be given that. I also asked for the preliminary investigation report, and they refused to give me that. So I don't have anything on my daughter's death officially. All I had gotten unofficially. From the Nigerian police? From the Nigerian police, I have nothing. From the doctor had refused to give me the medical report. Yes, I paid for it. So when we discovered that the FCT command was compromised, we now petitioned that the case be moved from the FCT command to the 4th CID, the gender unit of the 4th CID, under the stay of then DCP Margaret Ochala, now CP. So we went to her, and she took all over the process again, taking statements and all that. We told her that the school has 54 CCTV cameras in that school. That if she wants the truth, she can just ask for those footages and she will get to the truth, because a camera must have captured what happened. And she asked the school to get the footages of 15th June up until 19th June. She would like to see it. But all along, the school had released just the footage of 19th June. We kept on asking her what's the result of that request she had made, but she never gave us an answer until the school was being interviewed by the police radio. And they said on police radio that their footages self-delete after 30 days. So those footages had deleted.
The school's CCTV deletes
Yes.
after 30 days.
Yes.
What happened to the investigation before 30 days? Since the incident happened.
The ordinary president, the report of the child's death was made on the 22nd to the FCT Police Command. Let's assume that
22nd.
16th she couldn't walk. So we said they should get footages from 16th. DCP Margaret Ochalas, she then was now CP, told them to get footages from 15th of June to 19th. Okay? Now, if we look at it, if there was an official complaint on the 22nd of June, assuming that we are all interested in getting to the bottom, immediately assuming without considering that their footage self-deletes after 30 days, what would be the right thing to do? You start backing up from the day a report of that nature was made, and which is within 6 days of when she was reportedly unable to walk to class and was crying. Now, we told the FCT command, what is strange is that having given them all of this intelligence, they did not report back to us that they couldn't get footages. We heard from radio, police radio, when the school was saying that their footages self-delete. So that was when we knew there was a problem, because if I am an informant or a complainant who is giving you intelligence, you owe it to us, at least to the mother of
Not
the child.
to disclose it to anybody.
Yes, and to say this is what the challenge you have. But that did not happen. So we knew that there was a big challenge immediately.
Okay, I think, let me just back up a little. When my daughter died, the day she died, the school came to my house. So the principal, acting principal, Mr. Christopher Kinshawa, was there. And I told him that, principal, you must find out what happened to my daughter. The next thing he asked me was that, did she call any name? And I said no. And he said, so how do you expect me to find out?
So carelessly.
You even have a recording of conversation.
Of a conversation the matron had, the matron, Mrs. Grace Salami, had with another parent, telling the parent that they should not mind me, my case is dead on arrival.
Who told?
Mrs. Grace Salami, the matron of the school.
Told another parent.
Yes.
And the parents were not so concerned about their own children.
If I show you what some parents posted on that Telegram page that used to be the parents teachers I once belonged to, but at the point they threw me out.
They deleted you.
They threw me out.
So all those people who post that thing made the same thing happen to their children.
There was one woman that said, when they were discussing on it, they said they can ask the children. The woman said it's a code of conduct. The children do not talk.
In that school?
A code of silence, yeah.
A code of silence.
There's a code of silence in Premier Academy. No child will talk.
Anyway, we'll go hear from the Premier Academy too. We'll go hear from them.
I'll keep it. So, at a point, we went to the first CID, and we also told them at the police station that Miss Lois Bong had overdosed her, so they should question her. Mrs. Rita Abejide said she could not walk to school. Those are the people they should talk to. Mr. Chuka Okafor said they will get to the bottom of it. But all this, it was, even when they were going to investigate and question children in the school, we were told before they got there that they had tutored a certain set of students
What to say?
And we told the police, and the police went there and still questioned
Only those ones that were paraded, that were presented to them.
and then
Instead of now, with this information, you keep these ones aside and randomly pick by yourselves, being police.
And came back and was asking me that the student said my daughter had a boyfriend when she was 12 and was schooling in Makurdi. And I asked them, is it the boyfriend in Makurdi that came to rape her in school?
That forgot condom inside of her?
So they kept on. So, but at yes, there was a student too that sent us a voice note. I still have the voice note saying that she had gone through that too when she was 12 and in Premier Academy. She had teachers slapping her bum and saying, touching the breast and saying, you are growing like Nicki Minaj. That they had teachers that were sent out of the school because of sexual molestation. And then when they went to interview, they asked them if this has happened in school.
They said nothing
like that happens in their school.
We have a voice note of one of the students
and a copy of their letter suspending one of the teachers whose appointment has been terminated now for
on the grounds
sexual
of
molestation. So
you have a copy of that letter. Continue.
So where we went to the first CID, we gave them all this information, and we also got wind that the school brought some policemen that were going around the school showing them likely places of that taking place so that they'll light up the places. There was a truck that was abandoned for a long time. It was moved out of the school and all that. So we came back and told the police that this is what is happening in school, thinking Mrs. Margaret Ochala was different from what we faced at FCT. So at a point, I wrote to the first CID that I would like to be part of the DNA investigation that we're going to be carrying. I had contacted some pathologists who were ready to in South Africa, who were ready to carry out the investigation. So I said I needed to be part of that so that the school too can take part of it. I take part of the sample they are taking out of my daughter, and then the police. So that at the end of the day, we compare notes and see when they were going for this DNA. The police went with the school to the hospital and took the whole...
Without you?
Without me.
Wait, the police went with the school management?
Yes.
To the mortuary?
To the doctor that treated, to the hospital.
The one that had the
sample.
Had the sample.
Yes, but they didn't take you along.
It was the doctor that after they are taking it, she said, Madam, the police are just taking this. I said, taking...
The doctor had to call you. The police came with...
And I said, who was there with them? He said they were there with Premier Academy representatives. So I wrote the first CID again, and I told them that I wasn't comfortable with the whole process. I'm no longer interested in being part of that process. Because at that point, after taking that, they needed to take a sample for my DNA and one of my son's DNA. So through him, he kept on calling and begging that we should come. She kept on calling and begging that we should come to the force headquarters. So when we got there, she begged that if she ever took off her shoes, Mrs. Margaret Ochala, DCP, now Commissioner of Police, that if she ever jeopardizes this case, that whatever happens to my daughter should happen to her daughters. That she will never think of doing that. So that I said, fine.
Margaret Ochala, now good woman, no.
I said, fine, okay, I'll be part of this. And I did. I gave my sample, brought my son, he gave his sample, and my brother too. So at that point, this was in May, May. By August.
Allow her.
By August, somebody called me and told me that, is the result. First, one of the former teachers in the school said, a parent just called him now and said the results are out, and it shows that the school was right. I'm the one that was wrong.
The school has been exonerated.
Exonerated.
And you, the parent, has not even gotten that information.
No.
But the school has gotten the information. They were already celebrating.
And later the same day, another person called me and said, and they're celebrating in school. Oh, what happened? See. I now called.
Celebrating someone's daughter's death. Mm-hmm.
I now called the DCP, Margaret Ochala, and asked her, are these results out? She said, no, they are not out. I sent her a message. I said, but the school is jubilating that the results are out and it's in their favor. And she said, no, that's not true. That was on a Sunday. On Monday, by 11, somebody called me, Bartholomew Ali. He was the IPO for this case.
Bartholomew Ali?
Yes. Now Inspector Ali.
From headquarters?
Yes.
Force headquarters?
And say, Madam would like
CID.
to see, Madam would like to see you. I said, what is it for? Say,
Sorry. Meanwhile, they screened me off. They are now relating with her. I used to be like a liaison.
But
so
now,
all of a sudden now, they didn't want to interact with me. They had to start going straight to her.
That she would like to see me by 12 noon. I said, okay, I'll come. By 12, when I got there, the first thing she asked me was that, where did I get that information that the results were out? I said, madam, it's you, police, to investigate and tell me now. Why are you asking me? I don't know. Go and ask the school where they got the result. So she now opened her phone and said, see, this is the first time I'm opening this message. I'm just receiving it. It's true what you said. The results came out that no male DNA detected. I said, before now, Seth, I told you I don't trust your process. So it just proves that I was right. So they now say I should leave. They will call me for an official disclosure of the results. Till date,
up till now,
nobody has called me. They called me one time. We spent the whole day there, and they said we should go. They are busy. They
waiting for them to give you the result.
They said the deputy Inspector General of Police wanted to address us and give the result. Nothing came out of it.
Do you need a DIG to give you a result?
Until date, nothing.
Up till now,
nobody has called me pertaining that result. Only recently, I received a message from the new DCP there, saying I should come to her office. She wanted to discuss me. When I got there, she said I should write a petition again.
Fresh one. What about the one you had? The one that was written earlier. Okay. Now, when you get to a point, you stop. Then this man will not introduce himself, and when I go hear the journey so far since where this man done they involved. He go mention in name, which working they do, why he can't get interest on this matter, and where this matter don't go. Please, quickly, madam.
So, at this point, I had, at least I got the results from my own private observer, the pathologist. He said the hymen was broken. There was no doubt about that. But then, anal, she had laxed anal sphincter. What he explained was that for a normal person, even if your anus is forced open, it will still go back. And for a dead person, once you are dead, it should normally close up. But my daughter's own, you could run through it.
According to the word, that is the word of the doctor. So she was sodomized.
And then not just him. You know, we had did some embalmings before they came in. So those, what do you call those boys that prepare?
Embalm,
morticians. When my brother went, because they took her for preparing her and all that, and he went back to give them what they had asked, They said, who did this to your sister?
Mm.
They said, whoever did this to this girl is a beast. So, all this while, I have heard they've held meetings with their teachers. If you reveal anything, you'll be sacked. If you do this. So, it's been because you run to the police and expect.
No, but madam, the new Inspector General of Police will surprise you on this matter by the grace of God.
Amen.
From what I have heard about the present Inspector General of Police, nothing short of justice shall come your way.
So
by the grace of God.
I had taken this case to FCCPC.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the only organization that showed true commitment.
Only FCCPC. Where have you taken to?
I've gone to the Quality Assurance, Ministry of Education, FCT Command, FCT. And there was a woman that actually showed commitment. She came to the house, interviewed me and all that. She said I should write to the Quality Assurance. Then she was an acting director. But later she could not even communicate with me. She called someone she came to the house with. And she told him to tell me that she has been demoted because of this case. She has been asked to leave this case.
Wait, the woman?
Yes.
In charge of quality control? Abi?
Yes, quality assurance.
Quality assurance under Ministry of Education.
Yes.
What started the investigation properly?
Yes, properly.
And then she was cautioned to stop.
To stay off.
And then the next thing, she got demoted and removed from that office. Do you know her name?
I will get her name, but I wouldn't want to.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
The person that did that is still in the same office with her.
The person is leaving that office.
The person had children in Premier Academy. There's a director there that had children in Premier Academy that orchestrated that did not want Premier Academy investigated. I also went to the Attorney General, Ministry of Justice, but nothing came out of that. But FCCPC, the school, they started off the investigation. The school took them to court. That it was not in their jurisdiction to investigate. The police was already carrying out an investigation. We went to court, and the court threw out their case, lack of merit.
The school went to court
to stop FCCPC from investigating them.
Preventing FCCPC from carrying on with the investigation.
Because I reported negligence and failure of duty.
And then the court eventually threw the matter out. Okay?
But right now they have appealed.
So where have you taken this matter to? You went to police command, police force headquarters, for CID,
yes,
Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
Yeah, the Ministry of Education had actually called me on their own. Ministry
of Education.
And my contact then, each time I call him, he say he's not around, he can't attend. So I stopped calling him. Yes, Attorney General.
Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Yes, those are the places I've actually gone to. But aside from me, the NGOs, we have written. What I'm telling you now is cases I had instituted.
The ones you did.
Yes.
Okay.
But with the NGO, we had gone to the.
Okay, don't worry.
Human rights.
Let's hear from the. Please introduce yourself, sir. Okay. Madam, you can sit down if you want to.
My name is Lemi Uwegbe. I'm also a journalist. I'm a child and gender rights advocate. I run Men Against Rape Foundation and Make a Difference initiative. So in June 2021, when this news broke, unfortunately, the news broke and I saw it only at night of this 22nd of June 2021. which was after my family had celebrated my birthday with me on the same day. I saw that while we were celebrating, the mother was grieving. So immediately I started looking into the matter because, of course, like I said, I'm a trained child and gender rights advocate. So it turned out that in between doing my own private investigation, because of course I live in Lugbe, the place is not also far from me, I went around the environment asking questions. So in the course of that, somebody called me, Ezenwanwango, who is a very senior member of the civil society organizations. He called me and said, "Oh boy, something serious has happened though. Something around your area of competence. So I know that only two of you can handle this kind of case and not compromise. Unfortunately, one is dead, late barrister Esther Uzoma. So I am calling you to please help investigate this matter and do make sure that the right thing is done." So that was how I picked it up. He said he already had contacts with me, Vivian, that's Keren's mom. So I said, okay, when I'm ready, let me finish doing the small investigations I'm doing so that I will have questions for her when I see her. So we now, after 3 days, I now called her because I had her number, called her, I saw her, she explained things. Some of the things, in fact, the first thing that hit me was that while I was there, of course, she was taking her calls on speaker, on woofer. And the calls from the lawyer called and say, "Madam, don't forget to remember that we have appointment with the police, FCT command today."
Our own lawyer.
Yes. Remember, we have an appointment with FCT command because of the claim that your son said you don't stay at home and all that. And that's why Keren was not taken care of. And I ran mad immediately. I said, "What? You want to try a mother
that is grieving?"
Yes, for not staying at home. Is that the justification for the child to be raped? And I say, "What are you talking about?" "My friend, she's not honoring that. In fact, I'm taking over this matter immediately." And the gentleman too, quite humble, and he say, "Sir, please, if you can, please help us." And immediately I say, "Madam, do you mind? Can you put yourself together? Let's go and see someone I know very well." It turned out to be, of course, DCP Margaret Ochala. We are pretty close, and I said, "Let's go explain this to her and see what guidance we can get." And we immediately went there. Of course, the first thing she would do was she cried when the story was told her. So all of the empathy is the kind of thing, of course, the grieving mother would at least resonate with. Eventually, we decided that with what Force CID was doing, especially when we saw the story as she has narrated, we said we should apply for the case to be transferred. In fact, I did all of the groundwork for that to be done. Then, of course, we wanted to do a rally to awaken the society about what had happened to Keren at the Unity Fountain. That was fixed for July 9th, 2021. By July 8th, the police had started looking for me that I was inciting public, trying to incite the public and cause public disturbance. They had even gone to Lugbe to accost my spouse. The two policemen sent by DCP Fompam Joseph, as he then was, because he's a CP now, had even as much as threatened her by saying, "If we could find you here, we know where the house is. Better tell your Oga, you people should stop this man." Yes. So, of course, I felt threatened. My spouse was already calling me to say, "Must you do this rally?"
Yeah.
And I say, "Madam, don't use your reggae to spoil my blues. The reason they came to you, not me, is so that you can do what you are doing.
For you to discourage
So
you.
relocate with those who are at home, go elsewhere. I am not coming home. The rally must be done." So the next day, I was around the Unity Fountain. I saw so many DSS and police people parading themselves there. I was waiting for the cameras to come. TV and all that. Let them arrive before I will show face. So they were all there, gathering. As soon as I saw that we had sizable crowd and the cameras, both online, television and all were there, AIT, all of them, I decided it was time to come out. So as soon as of course it's COVID period, so I wore my mask. I didn't do double like you, ordinary president. Then climbed the fountain and began to say my life and that of my family is under threat because we are demanding that Keren's life be accounted for. And I called DCP Fompam Joseph, as he then was. He's now CP, I think, at even the first CID. I called his name out and called the FCT command as those threatening our lives because we are demanding justice for Keren. We finished all of the rally. It wasn't too safe. So what did I do? I immediately ran to National Human Rights Commission to tell them that this is what is happening. No, my life is under threat and all. I'll give them credit that, yes, I had called Antonio Juku, Executive Secretary of the Commission, and told him this, and he said I should come over.
You have his contact?
Yes, I had called him.
You spoke with him?
Yes. Because, of course, as the head of Law and Human Rights Desk with the Guardian, then I was covering the commission also before I resigned and decided to focus on the NGO work. So he said I should come. He gave me lawyers to take my statement. It sounds very supportive.
Let's appreciate Ojuku of Human Rights, National Human Rights Commission.
So
see, because he fight us, no means say if you do well, we no go appreciate him. This man cried to him. He give them lawyers, make them take in statement. It's worthy of appreciation. Let's appreciate Ojuku of National Human Rights Commission. Please. We should not be one-sided. The fight he's fighting us is separate. But here he has performed. He did the right thing. We should appreciate him. Please, let's appreciate him again. The fight is there. I will continue to fight him. Where he is able to do well, we will appreciate him. So eventually, he gave you lawyers.
Yes.
How many lawyers?
2 lawyers.
They took your statement.
They took my statement. Then we eventually fixed date to go and honor the appointment from DCP Fompam Joseph, as it then was at the FCT command. So when we got there, there was already a covering note by the National Human Rights Commission attached to my petition that was taken to the CP at the command, FCT command. So there was a covering note, and so it had to go to the CP first before we branched off to see DCP Fompam Joseph. While we were there waiting to see him, of course, the staff were hostile because they knew who I was and how much trouble we had caused.
Who hostile to you?
The staff of DCP Fompam Joseph at the FCT command. But it was not a problem. We were waiting to honor an invitation from the police.
An example of how hostile they were to you.
Yes, the words, the way they were talking, and just stood us up in one corner. But it didn't matter.
Okay.
Eventually, they went in, met the DCP Fompam Joseph. That's the staff.
The staff of National Human Rights Commission.
The staff in the FCT command.
The police.
The police, yes. By the time they came back, the lady came back, the woman who was attending to her, she said, DCP has a cold. He's not disposed to seeing anybody now. He has a cold. So you people should go. When we want you, we will call for you. Since that day till now, because of that covering letter and everything, they've not bothered with that aspect of I was causing public disturbance. So, but thereafter, later on, over time, they still sent for me again, another guys, and they say they had criminal allegations of me, what's it called, defaming the school with my post on social media, this. And now they say they want me to take down everything around justice for Keren because it was defaming the school. And I say I will not need to call the name of the school. That I can tell you. But what I'm interested in is the fact that we seek justice for Keren. I know your right. I know my own right. So would they say, okay, undertaking that I'm going to speak only about justice for Keren, I'm not going to mention them.
Where did you write the undertaking?
At the FCT command. Yes. So my lawyer,
as a journalist, you have been restricted from.
Yes, but we understand how it goes, and my lawyer was there. He advised that I just write, but make sure that I do not compromise justice for Keren. There is no way. The world knows once you do hashtag justice for Keren, it will tell all the stories we've told already. So I didn't see it as limiting us at all. So we left that one. I went back to the Human Rights Commission on July 26, 2021, this time with a petition from our organization, Men Against Rape Foundation, on behalf of Keren's mother. So when we went back there, in fact, it was a program that was going on, a stakeholders meeting with Mr. Tony Ojukwu. And as it was on, it was like an ambush. We took the copy, entered the place.
Was it at the National Human Rights Commission?
Yes, at the National Human Rights Commission headquarters in Maitama. So I went to him. He saw me immediately. He said, "Let me," because we are well acquainted. He said, "Let me." I now say, "Sir, we want to submit this." The cameras were on us because whatever we wanted to do, we made sure they were documented. So channels and others were there. They were recording the conversation. Yes. And it was reported. He said they were going to investigate, then get back to us.
2021.
Yes. July 26, 2021. It turned out that as soon as we submitted and stepped out, I was in front of the gate. We were about 6 members of the coalition who were outside. They were channels and co were interviewing us. When we saw this normal patrol, this big vehicle, this Jeep that DSS people use, and power bike, and 4 people inside the DSS thing. On the other side, opposite the commission, on the other side of the road, they started walking towards us. Meanwhile, my people were already saying bye-bye and parting. So the next thing, they approached me. Fortunately, Kayla of Channels TV, Kayla Megwa, was alert enough to know that this is trouble. So she immediately asked her cameraman when she noticed to start beaming.
To beam the camera on you people.
So because of the cameras on them, even as they were talking to me, I was saying, "What do you want? What do you want?" and all that. And the camera was on them. They felt very uncomfortable and immediately moved away. So I suspected that because DSS, if they need to pick you for any investigation or any infraction,
no camera will stop
CNN
them.
camera cannot even stop them. So the way they were able to run away.
Do you know why? DSS will never come to arrest you without doing proper investigation, running proper investigation on you. That was what happened to Emefiele that time now, that the chief of defense staff, Irabo, covered him up, placed him in his guest house, put 18 armed men to protect Emefiele because he was the chief of defense staff. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. DSS will never come to arrest you without having cogent reasons beyond reasonable doubt to pick you up. I hope you know that. I agree with you.
I agree with you. So I knew that something was wrong. Because
those people were not DSS.
Yes, because one, it was not a rally. 2, we were just 6 people granting interview peacefully.
And they waited for you to say goodbye.
Yes, immediately.
To isolate.
So it was like people disguising as DSS, but coming to pick up. It's like an abduction was foiled.
Do they have it on camera?
Yes, it was even reported on Channels TV.
I will give it to the DSS headquarters.
Yes.
They will trace those people. Yes. They will prosecute. They will make them public, and they will prosecute them.
Yes, or identify them if they are not part of them. So we finished from there. We've been waiting. Now that's for Human Rights Commission. As I speak to you till now, even when we gave them credible evidence, told them there are 54 CCTV cameras in that school. you will get footages that can explain what had happened to this child.
Out of the at least 50.
Yes, out of the 54. We are giving them even time frame within which, if you get it, there is no way it will not help.
Give you
And it is even in the interest of the school that such footages, if it shows that nothing happened, then nothing happened. So, but why are we running away from this? As I speak to you, sir, even though the Human Rights Commission under Anthony Ojukwu initially tried to at least get me some support with the police, as I speak to you, they have not dignified us with information about the outcome.
Since that day, Human Rights Commission did not do anything
at all. What we heard, what we know is that they invited the school
privately without you.
Yes, they invited the school. Global best practice. If you receive a petition,
yes,
because the petition can never contain everything the petitioner wants to say, you first invite him and debrief him. Then you will now call the other person's petition against and have conversation with them. Then you can bring them together.
Then you
bring them
you
together.
do what we call case conference.
Absolutely. Then after that, you bring them together so that the gray areas, they can controvert each other. They only met with the school, and thereafter, as I speak, they've neither dignified me nor the mother of this child with any information.
You mean National Human Rights Commission?
The National Human Rights
Commission. Under the same Ojukwu?
Yes, sir.
Make una turn the back of una how. Make una collect the clap where we clap. Collect and we withdraw the clap. So continue.
So I used to even get a lot of invitations to their events because, you know, paddy thing. But the moment I started getting critical about this behavior, which is not even a phone call to the mother of the child
from National Human Rights Commission,
a phone call to say we grieve with you, even if it's political statement.
Yes, and we are on this matter.
Yes, even if it's political statement, nobody dignified her with that. We finished with the Human Rights Commission angle. We went to the Minister of Women Affairs. I will shock you today by telling you that a lot of us claim to be interested in women and children, but we are fake.
Thank you.
At the risk of sounding very harsh, Dame Pauline Tallinn, Minister of Women Affairs, shut us out. Shut us out. There's nothing we have not done, plus writing, plus press release, plus everything, to call our attention. If you are genuine, as a Minister of Women Affairs, you do not need a letter. You do not need a petition. That you know that a woman in Abuja lost a daughter, 14-year-old, in the circumstances being painted. I think that if we are real, if we are genuine, you will make at least... What stops her from a visit to the home of the grieving mother? So, okay, we don't want that. Political statement. We demand justice for Keren. Madam, we will insist and get the press to do something. They abandoned that. There's conspiracy of silence and inaction at all levels in this case.
Except here.
This is the place where everybody seeks refuge.
Ordinary President, this is not interruption, just a quick observation. For them to say that they said to the police there is 56 TV,
CCTV
54, and the police is asking the school to bring that, is unprofessional and unethical.
Instead of them to just
police should have taken over the CCTV, whatever
MDR,
they have.
The DVR?
Even the story of the system overwriting itself does not also apply, because in forensics you can recover it. But what could have happened now is that they must have changed the hard disk. They must have thrown away that hard disk completely. So that evidence is destroyed by this lack of professionalism in the way that the police approach the matter.
Lack of professionalism and lack of commitment.
And you are very magnanimous, sir. I would say even collusion. Because you must demonstrate that you had attempted to get it yourself. You, as much as did not do random tests.
You on your own did not get to understand that there are 54 cameras in that school. Someone gave you a clue.
And you didn't take over. You're asking the premises, the institution, to bring it to you as police.
So we also went, okay, I was talking about the women affairs where they did not even allow us step into the office of the Minister of Women Affairs. We dropped our love letter, our complaint there. They didn't allow us. We kept on doing press to get our attention. But we remember, maybe because Keren was the daughter of a ordinary civil servant. Because when a teacher was reported to have flogged a child who was related to a prominent man in Abuja, it was just on social media. And that same day, the Paul Italian took it up. When Osinachi Nwachukwu of blessed memory died, the Paul Italian started doing roadshow with our children. If you care about children, you will think about trauma. You will say you do not parade their father, even if he's a murderer, before them. These were points we were making that showed us that these people are just making money internationally, getting funding, but they are not committed at all.
Allegation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's our opinion.
Thank you very much.
Then we went to Social Development Secretariat. We reported the same matter. We filed complaint. They did all of the talk here, talk there when they received us. As I speak to you, the moment they invite the other side, and the other side, you see, because I am not to mention their name based on what, so it's on record that I'm not mentioning their name. The moment they see the other side or anybody else, the case immediately dies. But they are not good at what they do, because you will at least call us and say, having gone through this, we find no merit. But you cannot leave it open-ended. And that was what happened also with Social Development Secretary. The mother of this child, I'm not sure she has gotten straight 3 hours sleep since June 22, 2021.
Oh my goodness. Oh!
Austin will tell you that it's in the last 1 or 2 months that she's beginning to even look like you need to see how bad it is.
Can you capture her for me, Mr. Cameraman, please?
So, victims and survivors and their families of gender-based violence are not silent. They are silenced by the lack of empathy and commitment shown by Nigerians and especially government. This woman has been alone all this while. And that's why we said, look, it's an opportunity for us to come to where we know that the voice is amplified, that even when you have no voice, they will hear your voice, because this is the largest and most potent family ever in the world. She has never been the kind of person who wants this kind of, she will ordinarily just focus on her work and all. But when I got mad was, having listened to police summoning her to investigate her for not being around, and listening to the tape where a staff of the school was telling another parent that the case is dead on arrival. I say, okay, they have underrated her. We will join forces to make sure that the truth comes out. Keren cannot be a mere statistics. Every year we mark it to immortalize her, but this woman needs closure. She needs healing. One way or the other, police should even be courageous enough to tell us what that thing that they have done, that they have compromised the report. Give us the report. We had to use backdoor to get medical report. Medical report that we got said excoriation of the labia majora, which is bruising of a private part, which shows, of course, rape. She is 14. It's statutory rape. At 14, you cannot have intimacy. So all of this, and the mother of the child just says, yes, look, let's not make it seem like it's one school it happens. It happens in many schools. The only thing is, how does the school deal with it? Are you dealing with it with business reasons in mind? Or are you dealing with it that these are not commodities but humans? It happens. I can tell you cases that we've investigated, plenty schools, but the difference is empathy. Do you bring your humanity to bear, or you bring, okay, they were apologizing to her a day before the child died. As soon as the child died, they changed their story.
Oh, okay, hold it there. We'll continue this matter tomorrow by the grace of God. Madam, you will come back. You will come back too. Thank you for being here. We are going to call the school to hear their own side of the story.